English. It's very hard to translate it to even into a phrase as well. So in this discussion, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to give you the idea or the feeling, the expression of these words through a couple of examples, analogies, and such. So the expectation is to make you understand about the reality of the world. We are not expecting to give you information or facts that you need to buy heart or something. Nothing like that. This is purely about what you feel about this world. So the basis of Dhamma, or the basis of why we are listening to this Dhamma, is it has to do with our expectation, or the expectation to feel bliss or positive feelings, happiness. So in our journey as a baby, we were born into this world, and we are going through a journey that will end up in death. So during this journey, we have to understand that what we are looking for is happiness. And so the opposite is, we are trying to get away from suffering. And our expectation is to reach happiness. So, however, we have been unable to achieve that target so far. That's why each and every day we are trying to achieve happiness. We do various things. We earn money. We marry people. We eat. We see things. We see movies. We watch movies. We listen to songs in order to be happy. So the ultimate goal is to be happy. So let us take a human being. Let us see how a human being lives through its life until death. What it does. We dig into its life. The person is born as a small human being with very less needs. What it needs is food and sleep. So this little human being grows to an adult. But when someone becomes an adult, you know that the expectations of that person, it has grown so far that some people have even unrealistic expectations as well. But initially it started with food and sleep, maybe warmth, and few basic needs, mainly attached to the body. Because of mainly we can say they are bodily needs based on the human body. So this initial need was fulfilled and the small baby was happy. You can see its happiness by seeing that it is not crying. So the baby is not crying. So if it's crying, then we know there's a problem, there's a suffering. So that's how we started. So these expectations have grown. Why? Simple. We could not fulfill our happiness by fulfilling those basic needs. We could not settle with that because we needed more to feel happy. So we could not fully reach the, we could not reach the ultimate bliss. We are still finding it. Say, at the deathbed, even at the deathbed, what we will be looking for is that ultimate bliss or happiness. But we will be always in vexation, being unable to fully get that or fulfill that happiness. So there's a reason for that. So let's take a day of a person. When someone spends his or her day, person wakes up in the morning. Why? Because the body, the need of sleep has subsided. Now the person is awake. So the vexation the person had due to sleepiness in the previous day has now gone because of sleep. So now the person is awake. And as soon as the person is awake, what he or she needs is maybe, depending on the bodily functions, maybe he or she has a full bladder or maybe an empty belly. So now the person needs food, or now the person needs to use the washroom. Based on what gives more vexation, what gives more suffering, person decides where to go. So if the pain or the suffering due to the full bladder is more, he or she will go to the washroom. Or if the person is hungry and the hunger is more than the pain through the full bladder, pain due to the full bladder, then the person will go to the kitchen and have some food. So let's say he or she went to the washroom, and after that pain is gotten rid of. So if he gets rid of that pain, then what is there next is this hunger. So the person automatically goes to the kitchen to get some food. So that's how it works. Whatever the vexation occurs in the body or in the mind drives the person to his or her daily activities. Or person who spends a normal day occurs due to vexation. So when the person has various kinds of aches and pains when it comes to body and mental dissatisfactions and sufferings when considering the mind. When people have those kinds of things, they tend to use their body, mind, and words in order to get rid of these problems. So, a person's life is that a struggle to get rid of mental and physical discomfort. Think about your day. What you did throughout the day was that. So after filling up your belly, now you are full. Now you don't need to use the washroom. Now you are neutral. Is it? No, it's not the case. Now you have various kinds of mental sufferings. Maybe you have a job. Maybe you have your things to do. So these things are reminded. And now you have a mental vexation. To get rid of that vexation, you do things, do certain things. You go to the office, go to your job, do the various kinds of things that you need to do during the day. You do those because otherwise it will have consequences. Say, you did not go to your office or the job on time, there will be consequences. You don't like that. That's a mental suffering. That's a mental dissatisfaction. So to get rid of that, you go there on time. So you don't have a boss. You don't have much responsibility. Nobody cares. Then you won't mind going late. Because now there's no mental dissatisfaction. That's why most of the jobs, they have various kinds of rules and regulations to keep the employees in place. Otherwise, we won't do our work properly. So this phenomenon is used everywhere, day-to-day life. That's how the world works. So we get a vexation, mental vexation to reach the office or job. So after that, the work also done in a similar pattern inside the job. So when everything is done, the shift is done, now you're heading back to your home. You can stay in the job or office, but you don't. You reach back to your home because now office is the place itself is a mental dissatisfaction, mental discomfort. You see your house or your home or your room or your safe place as a good thing, or it has mental pleasure. So, in order to get rid of the mental dissatisfaction, you reach home. You are very tired. You need to wash. You need to wash. So you go there in order to get rid of the tiredness. After that, various kinds of hobbies or things you do when you have leisure time pops up into your mind. If you are unable to do those things, then you will be in mental dissatisfaction. So to get rid of that mental dissatisfaction, you start doing those things. Start watching TV. You start watching movies, listening to songs. If a person is addicted to alcohol, it is addicted to taking alcohol in the evening, so that person will do that because to get rid of the mental dissatisfaction of not doing it. So the person spends his or her day like that, and at the end, sleep will dominate everything. Even though you started watching movies, when the sleep dominates it, you will close the TV, the laptop, and you will fall asleep, or you will go to bed. So, just like how you decided where to go, to the kitchen or to the washroom in the morning, you will decide now it's not the time to listen to music, not the time to watch movies, now it's time to bed. So that's how a person works. So that's why even you are in whatever the country, this story fits to everyone. It's not the story of Sri Lanka, the story of each and every living being. Not even the story of humans, it's the story of all the living beings living in the universe. Everybody works like that. That's why we can see the same story everywhere we go. Okay? Eat, pay meals, do a job, earn money, have some hobbies depending on the person, depending on the money he or she has, depending on the other factors like friends and stuff. So depending on that, they have various kinds of hobbies, and they spend the day trying to get rid of mental and physical discomfort, and in the end, the day is over. The next day begins. So it's the story of the baby. It is the story of the young person, adult, middle-aged person, elderly person. It's the story of everyone. So that's why wherever you are born, this world, the story when it comes to your life is almost similar. I was born, I was raised, and we went to school, we learned, we found somebody, and we found a job as well. So we had children, and we raised them. They became good people or bad people, depending on your karma. We will come to that later, and depending on the various kinds of things you have done in the past and things you are doing in the present. So you will have grandchildren, and you will look after them as well, and you will get old, you will die. You don't have to go to a certain country to say that this is their culture. It's everybody's culture, or everybody's story is like that. So we went through this in order to understand that we could not, we weren't able to fulfill our goal in this lifetime. Our goal is to be satisfied. Expectation is to be satisfied. If we are satisfied, then we will not need to do things again. We won't be able, we will not need to watch movies again. If movies are satisfying us, say we are watching movies through our eyes. So let's say our eyes are vexatious. Originally it's the mind. that is vexatious. So the mind, the movie watching mind is vexatious. So if we are able to fulfill our dissatisfaction and be happy, we are talking about ultimate happiness, not the temporary happiness that we reach, that we get by watching a movie. It's temporary, and we will have to do it again and again. And doing something again and again is not fun. It's take effort, and putting effort is not fun. Even it is watching, you have to look at that screen for a certain amount of time. It can even give you a headache. At the end, you understand that. When the movie is over, only you understand that your eyes are aching and you got nothing. You are just looking for a temporary happiness. You got that, but at the end, now you cannot get that happiness you are experiencing for 2 hours. Now, even if you think about it, cannot get that exact happiness. So that's why you need another move. And after that, another one. So, the movie watching mind never get fulfilled. Say if 5%, if 5% of it is fulfilled, now you only have 95% to be fulfilled. So the second movie, you only have, after that, you only have 90%. So after watching about 20 movies, you will say, now I don't need to watch movies again. My mind, my movie watching mind is now 100% full. Now I don't get that vexation again. So I don't need to use a TV or a laptop. So you can give it to another person. To do the same. If this happens to everything like movies, like listening to songs, like smell, taste, touch, and even thoughts, then at the end you will want nothing. The list will be full. But the world is not like that. That's why we are struggling until death. So when we learn that, then we should find a way to really find happiness. That's why we are here. That's the basis of understanding Dhamma. It's not about learning Dhamma. It's about understanding Dhamma. So, we have to understand the reality. We are going to understand that in this world, the happiness what we are experiencing as lay people is not the original happiness that someone wants. As we don't know that, we are stuck with that. We are stuck with what we have. But it is not something good. Let's say we have our eyes to watch. We have our ears to listen. We have our nose to smell. We have our tongue to taste. We have our body or skin to get the touch. We have our mind to receive and process thoughts. That's everything. That's the world. You cannot understand world without those 6 gates. Those are 6 gates where the being comes to life. So, being. A being is or the feeling of consciousness, or the feeling, consciousness, and the idea that you are living comes to life because of eyes and images, because of ears and sounds, because of the nose and smells, because of the tongue and the tastes, because of the skin and the touches that it receives, because of the mind and thoughts. Collision of these internal organs with the external organs. Internal organs are eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. External organs are images, sounds, smells, touches, tastes, and thoughts. So, collision of these internal and external organs creates consciousness and creates the feeling. So, whatever ignorant mind, the ignorance is the word for ignorance, the Pali or Sinhala word for it is avidya. The Pali word is avidya. So, we'll call it ignorance here. So, not the ignorance that we know, not the ignorance that we call somebody, you are an ignorant person, not that one. This is avidya, or the ignorant nature person has when it comes to the reality of the world. So, this ignorance is, we have to expand it and understand it. So, when we understand ignorance, we are no more ignorant. We know the reality there. That's the basis of the discussion. So, we see, as we explained, there are external organs. So our idea is that there is happiness in these external organs, namely images, sounds, smells, tastes, touches, and thoughts. Those 6 items. That's why we watch movies. We think that there's bliss or happiness in images. That's why we listen to songs. We think that there is happiness in sounds. Perfumes. That's why delicious food. That's why we like. Let's say you are in an environment and somebody creates, somebody make a fire. Now as it's a cold environment, a blissful sensation there. So you are thinking of fire. the warmth of it. You like the warmth. But the same, maybe the same taken to a desert or somewhere very hot. If you create that fire, make a fire, hot, sunny environment, who would not get that same experience? Feel a blissful sensation, instead it will be suffering sensation due to warmth. The cold environment was fulfilling, but when it comes to spots, that we know that when our body is imbalance, the warmth due to the tries to balance it out. So coldness of our body is balanced and it becomes neutral. So this process creates a blissful sensation. But when it comes to a hot, sunny environment, you are imbalanced and you are looking cold. But instead you are giving warmth, heat energy to your body. Broaden you suffering. So at that point what you need is a fan or an air conditioner. So what an air conditioner will do, reduce and it will balance the heat energy. So you have blissful sensation there. That air cold environment and feel the same blissful sensation you felt in the sunny hot environment. So what you need to understand through this analogy, for example, is get blissful sensation from outside of air conditioner was outside of it. Fire was an outside object. But you could not fully get that blissful sensation irrespective of the place. So what gave that blissful sensation was the imbalance or the vexation. So when the body is vexatious, out of cold or out of warmth, whichever the thing that reduces that vexation is perceived as blissful. So it is not something in the outside world. That is what we need to understand. So if we take a few more examples, let's take food. So we like food, but we do not like food in every instance. When we are hungry, we are looking for it. Otherwise, we have forgotten that there's food in the refrigerator or in the kitchen. When when the hunger develops, we perceive food, and food is perceived as blissful. So let's take an instance where you get a big plate of rice or something you like. So if you are so hungry, you start having big bites, mouthfuls of food, and you will feel delicious. You will feel good initially, but the blissful sensation you got through the first bite cannot get it again, cannot experience that again. The second bite will be less blissful. You will understand this when the belly is filling. There's an instance where you feel like now it's enough. You feel like keeping the plate aside. So at that moment, if you try to remember that the bite you took just before that thought is not that delicious in that instance. So the deliciousness has reduced with time when the belly is filling. So what made the food delicious was hunger. So if the same food was given again and again after that thought, you don't need any more food. After that thought also, if you give more and more food, then it will start to create a suffering sensation. After a few bites, you will feel like vomiting. The same food, which was so delicious, the beginning has now become suffering again. So, the point we have to understand through this is, it's not the outside object. It's always the vexation that is created inside your body or in your mind. It creates the surrounding or the environment for blissful sensation. And this environment is itself suffering, or it has a vexatious nature to it. So what the happiness we are looking for throughout this entire life is based on vexation. So you have to understand that if there's no blissful component embedded in the outside world, you have to create a suffering sensation, a suffering component in your body and in your mind, so that you will perceive these outside items as blissful. That's what you need to do in order to enjoy this world, in order to enjoy your life. That's what you do in your day-to-day life. And that's a very unwise thing to do. There's a good analogy for this. If somebody knocks you in the head with a baseball bat, now you are in severe pain. Let's say moderate pain. Otherwise, you will be in the hospital. So you are in moderate pain. So now another person comes and start stroking your head. you feel a blissful sensation. Not like somebody strokes your head when it is not in pain, when it is not in vexation. So when somebody strokes your head in a normal circumstances, you will feel the touch of that hand. Otherwise, nothing else to latch on to. Nothing blissful there. But if someone knocks you on the head and starts stroking your head, you will feel good. You will feel a blissful sensation. And if that same person asks you, may I hit you again, so that you can get the blissful sensation again? Is it a wise thing to accept? We all know that it's not a wise thing. But we are doing it in a daily basis. Throughout our life, we do that. But we don't know. So, and everybody is doing it. So we also tend to do it, looking for the blissful sensation in the outside. So, stroking your head was a neutral sensation. In order to make it a blissful sensation, you had to create a vexation. So that's why you were hit by a baseball bat. Now there's a good surrounding, a good background, feel the blissful sensation. Now when someone strokes your head, you feel blissful. And you don't like that baseball bat, but you start to like the stroking of the head. That's the avidya or the ignorance. So can you get bliss only from this stroking? You cannot. So unwillingly or without knowing, you have accepted that baseball hit as well. So it comes in a package. So if you believe in life after death or reincarnation, so you die with the thought that you need outside images, feel blissful, or you're now attached to the outside images. You're watching movies, you're seeing things, you like those things, and you are very well attached to those things. You're listening to things, you're listening to songs, you're listening to pleasant music or pleasant voices, or whatever. So you are attached to these sounds. You are attached to various kinds of smells. You are attached to various kinds of tastes. You are attached to various kinds of physical feeling. So feeling perceived through skin. You are attached to thoughts. So, what you need, as we are ignorant, what we need is those outside external world, external items. So what happens in death is you lose your internal organs. You use your eye, you lose your ears, you lose your nose, tongue, body, and your mind. So if the attachment is to the external world, what happens there is it creates another body and a mind which is vexatious, which is originally vexatious. That's why the baby, a newborn, starts crying as soon as it comes out of the mother. It's the nature. So you have a vexatious body and a mind to create that. Why? Your expectation was that to feel blissful sensation from images, to feel blissful sensation from sounds and so on. So as the original expectation was that, it created a body and a mind. That's so it's there. So the body and the mind is now vexatious. Now, throughout your lifetime, what you are trying to do is trying to get rid of that vexation by giving images, by giving sounds, by giving everything. And you are failed to do that. Even in your full lifetime, you are unable to fulfill it. Why? Because the nature of your body and mind is vexatious. So, then how can we get rid of that? So, we told that initially our body has various kinds of needs. So as a small baby, when somebody is born, that person has various kinds of needs. Hunger, thirst, and other needs. So when somebody has these kinds of needs, even through the lifetime, those needs are there. But we talked how our expectations increase throughout this lifetime. So when we have become adults, our expectations increase. So that's what we can get rid of. So we can get rid of the suffering which we created by our own actions, or by initially through ignorance or avidya. So through avidya we create suffering. We dig our own grave. How is that? Say you like necklaces or you like clothes. Let's say you like clothes. And you see a showroom where you see dummies that are displayed in this showroom with nice dresses. So now you want them. You feel like the bliss is in that dress. So at that specific moment, your mind becomes vexatious. Not that the dress becomes blissful, but your mind becomes vexatious so that you perceive that dress as blissful. Otherwise, if the bliss was in that dress, everybody will want that dress, because everybody sees it as beautiful and blissful. But it's not the case. Someone will say, no, it's not my type. I don't like that dress. And I hate that dress. Someone would say that. And another person will say, no, it's okay, but nothing fancy. It's neutral. But another person will say, it's the best cloth or piece of cloth I have seen in my life. Based on the vexation, mental vexation which was created in the mind. So that's what we are talking about. So when you see that, that there's no such thing as bliss in the external world, and it is due to the vexation which is created inside, and we perceive these neutral items as blissful, as the body and the mind is vexatious. When you see that, you are no more ignorant. So the suffering which was caused through ignorance is no more there. Now you will not chase after those things. What will happen if you chase after that piece of cloth? You don't have money to buy that beautiful dress. It's so expensive. Now, mental dissatisfaction starts to build up then and there, and it grows. When there's as we initially told about how a specific person spends his or her day trying to get rid of the dissatisfaction. Otherwise, the person will end up in mental hospital with depression or something, if he or she could not get rid of the mental dissatisfaction. So now this person has the mental dissatisfaction, and he or she needs that piece of cloth, which is very expensive. Now what? The actual thing is, there's nothing to be happy about in that dress. It's just a piece of cloth. That's why we told that there's no bliss in the outside environment. So when we understand that, when we do not understand that, what we do is, now there's a big mental dissatisfaction. So we tend to earn, we tend to save, we tend to think about that dress. We tend to earn and save in order to buy that dress. And it is not a pleasant thing. It is not blissful. Working is not blissful. Earning is not blissful. But the person's mind, in the person's mind, he or she feels like, I am getting closer to buying that dress. So mental dissatisfaction reduces when the person works, when the person earns, when the person saves money. Say he or she was able to save the amount that is needed to buy that dress. So as soon as the dress is owned, as soon as it was tried, that whole vexation is now gone. And it is neutralized. Why? When the mental vexation was created by due to not having that dress. When you get that dress, that mental dissatisfaction is gone. At that specific moment, you feel very blissful. Yes, that's right. So, and creating that blissful sensation, the mind becomes neutral. So as soon as it gets neutral, as there's no bliss in that dress itself, you don't feel that blissful sensation anymore. That's why you have many clothes in your closet. Bought it, tried it, and now you don't want it. If the blissful sensation was embedded in that dress, you will wear it every day because it's blissful. But that's not the case. in that instance you bought it, it's gone. But that ignorant mind is not gone. So when you are going by another store, the same thing happens. So what has happened in your life? You have dug your own grave, or you have suffered due to your own actions, due to your ignorance. That's what has happened to us, everybody. So this is what we need to understand. So when we understand that there's no blissful sensation in the outside world, we tend to give less and less value to this external world. When less value is given to the external world, say the dress you like is 20,000 rupees. Now, initially, when you don't know, when you didn't know about this phenomenon, this idea when the idea of Dhamma was not in your mind, you wanted it even for 20,000 rupees. No problem. I'll work for it. I'll earn it. I'll work hard. I'll suffer, but I will somehow get that bliss, which is in that sorrow. That was your idea. But when you understand Dhamma, you understand that 20,000 is not the value that it should be given. It's zero. What has happened is your mind has become minus 20,000. So when you buy it, you perceive it as plus 20,000. And that minus 20,000 is reduced to zero. So due to that plus 20,000, and it becomes zero. Now you don't need that dress anymore. So when you understand that, you won't look it. You won't look for a dress which is 20,000. You will say, I'll give 2,000 for this dress. Otherwise, I won't need it. I just need it to cover myself up, to get rid of the coldness, get rid of sunburn, get rid of various kinds of animals that can hurt me due to touch and other things, because it's not ethical to not wear a dress, things like that. So that's why I want this dress. Otherwise, I don't have this kind of a vexation to give you 20,000 rupees to buy this piece of cloth. It's just a piece of cloth. That will be your idea. So with that idea, even if you try to buy that dress for 2,000, the amount of work you have to do to buy that will be less, 10 times lesser than it was before. So that's why we say Dhamma makes it easy to live, to go this journey. Makes it easier. Just like the small person or the small baby wanted few things to fulfill its bodily needs, we will also reduce our needs in order to get rid of the suffering. As this vexation is formed in the body and the mind, so valuable body and the mind will be perceived after learning Dhamma, after understanding it. You will perceive this as less valuable because it is the thing that drives us to these kinds of vexatious nature. And it is why, body is why we are spending so much time in a day to get rid of suffering. As the body is itself vexatious, now we cannot stay in the same place for long. So you're sitting in a chair now. To sit, if you maintain the same posture for a long time, it will start aching. You start giving aches and pains. Now you want to change the posture. Why? Now the original posture you maintain is felt as vexatious, suffering, and maybe the sleeping posture, maybe standing posture, may perceived as, which is a neutral posture, may perceived as blissful, and now you change your posture. But does it change anything? No. That also will end up in vexation. Now you have to change this posture. Say you get another person, the exact copy of yours, a clone, I would say. And that this clone or the exact copy is not able to move the body, but it feels vexation. So that person, your copy, is next to you, listening to Dhamma, and it's copying every action you do, but it is unable to move the body. So you are doing it on behalf of it. So let's say you're changing the posture. Now the other person is also having a difficulty maintaining that posture. So he also wants to change it. So on his behalf, you change the posture to the posture you changed. So that person is also maintaining your posture now, and it's changed. And in this posture also, after some time, you start getting aches and pains. And now you change your posture. Now other person also having the same exact feeling, and you are changing his posture as well. So if you do this for a lifetime, you will say, this is hell. What is this? I cannot live with this person. I'll have to do everything for this person. Not only changing posture, you'll have to feed it. You'll have to take it to various places when it gets mental dissatisfaction. If you want to watch a movie and if you feel vexatious, if you feel dissatisfied, if you get a dissatisfaction in your mind or vexation in your mind to watch a movie, that person also will get it. And you will have to turn on the TV or turn on the laptop and find a movie for that person. You will have to do that, do everything like that, not just the posture. If that was the case, you will like committing suicide. You feel like committing suicide. But when it comes to you, you do it every day to yourself. But when it comes to the other person, you copy. You do not like to do it. What's the difference there? You do not feel that blissful sensation which was a mirage or which was a myth is felt due to your own vexation being released. So that is what keeps you from not getting rid of this world. That's why you get attached to this world. That idea or that blissful sensation feel due to reduction of vexation. So you do not feel it from the other person. So you feel the effort, feel the pain of the effort you put to that person. So that's why you want to get rid of that person as soon as possible. You won't like that even for a day. We won't need to talk about the lifetime. We won't need to talk about a lifetime. You won't like to do that to the person, the copy of yours, even for a day. But you are doing it to yourself without a problem. And even you are liking this body and mind, vexatious body and mind. Because it is what gives you that false. It is not that it is not there. It is there. It's real. You feel that blissful sensation. But it is through a very unwise way. Just like the analogy we took. You hit it the baseball bat and you stroke it to feel this. That is not a wise way to feel this. So getting rid of, so how do we feel blissful when it comes to this Dhamma, when it comes to understanding Dhamma? So the person the example we took before, there was a person who bought this beautiful dress for 20,000 rupees. And another person who understood Dhamma didn't get that mental vexation because he has clothes for him or her, enough clothes to fulfill the basic need of wearing clothes. So that same person, the next person is walking by that showroom and he or she does not want that dress. So when we compare those two instances, those two people, the first one had to go through immense suffering in order to get that dress. For what? Get rid of the mental suffering. As soon as he or she bought that dress, that suffering is gone, creating an immense blissful sensation, and now you cannot get that immense blissful sensation again. because it is through a process. And because it is not really embedded in that dress. So the first person suffers a lot. And comparing with the second person does not have that suffering sensation. So when the main aim or the main goal throughout the day, throughout this lifetime, was to get rid of suffering. That's the first example we discussed here. So the way how you wanted to go to the office, wanted to go to the washroom and the kitchen, how we decided where to go and where to go next and what to do next, was to get rid of mental and physical suffering. That's the basic idea. So when you understand Dhamma, think about those two people who bought the dress. The first one is suffering, and the second one knows the reality, knows what's ignorance. So knowing the ignorance means you know the reality. So when you know the reality, you don't need that dress for this for beauty purposes. You need the dress for other purposes, power up your body. So as that is the case there, the first person has experienced a lot of suffering throughout the process, and the second person has not suffered even no mental satisfaction, zero mental satisfaction. So throughout the day, throughout our lifetime, we try to do that. We try to achieve that goal, get rid of the suffering. But we weren't unable. We died trying to fulfill that, but we could not. But let's isolate this case of the dress. And if we isolate that case and we say, pertaining to this dress, this person has not felt suffering, as this reality sticks with that person throughout this lifetime, he or she won't get this suffering pertaining to dresses throughout the lifetime. So when we compare these two people, second person is nearer. It's near to blissfulness than the first one. First one is suffering. So in Dhamma, what it says as blissful is getting rid of suffering is blissful. That's the term. That's the definition of bliss. So if there's zero suffering, that's the 100% bliss you can have. Otherwise, you can have this fake blissfulness, where you have suffering to get it in the first place. So that's why it says you get rid of suffering, and that is bliss. So you will be like a small baby. So you will just have your physical or bodily needs to be fulfilled. Other than that, you will be a very happy person in your mind. You will have mental satisfaction. People don't have mental satisfaction in this world, in the current world. That's why suicide rates are so high. Most of the people who are committing suicide are due to mental reasons, not physical reasons. Very few are due to physical reasons, physical pain, physical discomfort. Most of the physical discomforts lead to mental discomfort, and due to mental discomfort, they commit suicide, not due to the physical one. Initially, there can be a physical thing. Say someone gets an amputated leg, so he feels pain, and he feels, on top of that, he feels that now he cannot do anything alone. Now he has to depend on somebody. Now everyone doesn't like him. Everyone doesn't care about him. And now he or she wants to commit suicide. Not because of the pain, solely on the pain which is created by the amputated leg. So that's the case. So mainly it is due to mental reasons people commit suicide. So what we are looking for is mental satisfaction. If someone is mentally satisfied, that's the ultimate happiness. But in this materialistic world, what everyone is looking for is outside objects. Even scientists, the science which has developed so far, the basis of it is to create more and more external items that can give you happiness. Otherwise, there's no need for science. Science is just to create outside items, external organs that can create bliss. That's why fan was not enough. That's why the air conditioner was invented. So the air conditioner is also not enough now. Now, in somewhere in this world, scientists might be trying to invent something better than this air conditioner. So that's why. So the end, we are going towards more and more materialistic world, where the idea that we can have happiness through external items has embedded in our lives. But we are doing it all wrong. That's why suicide rates are high. When we become simple, when our expectations are less and less, then we will have less and less mental discomfort. We will need less and less things to fulfill ourselves. So we will be happy, in other words. That's the basic idea. So, to understand this, the complexity of your lives, the vexation will become less, and the complexity of your life is due to your vexation. So when you are more vexatious, when your mind and body is more vexatious, you will have to do more and more things. In these 24 hours, everybody gets 24 hours for a day. But that some people get more. Everybody gets only 24 hours. If you have more vexatious, if your mind is more vexatious, you have 24 hours. So maybe you sleep 6 hours, so 18 hours to fulfill those needs. When you have less vexation, you will have to work less to fulfill your needs. So your life will be simple. You will have more peace. That's what we need. We are looking for peace. Someone asks, what is the goal? Most of people will say, I want peace. Maybe after my job, I will buy a big house near to a lake or a river, and I will drink a cup of tea in the evening and will enjoy the environment. I don't have work to do. I don't have nothing. I don't have anything to do. So I am very free. So if that's the ultimate goal, why are we waiting for that to happen? If your mental satisfaction becomes less, you have to work less. If it's more, then the complexity of life is more. You have no time to do anything because your priorities are something else. Happens due to ignorance, not knowing the reality. So that's how the life becomes easier. And the third part is, let's take that example we took before, the dress. So when you bought the dress, so when it is in the showcase, say the showroom was caught on fire and it was destroyed along with the dress. Now the first person who liked it so much, who had a very mental dissatisfaction due to not having it and wanted to have it, will be devastated. As now, however you try, you cannot have it. It's gone. It's burnt and has become ashes. So that's the third suffering that person will have to bear. If you give value to outside world, not only to the dress, to images, to sounds and so on. They decay and die. That's it. Or in other words, they end up in destruction. One day they will be divided to its original elements. Let's say all the things are made of atoms. So they will dissociate and become those original forms. Whatever it is, that's the case. So if you create a mental dissatisfaction in your mind to achieve these things that dissociates and destructs at the end. So this Jara Marana in Pali. Jara means the original translation is decay. Everything decays and ends up in death. So this death, the term death, when it comes to Pali, refers to that the thing that was so we call something, let's say a chair. So we don't call the piece of wood, a chair. Only after it is built with 4 legs and a backrest and everything, we call it a chair. So after maybe 50 years or so, when the chair is broken and has become pieces, we would call it pieces of wood, maybe firewood. But we won't call it a chair. So there was a birth to this chair and a death to this chair. And in the meantime, we could see a chair. So that's why in all literature it's referred as decay and death. The decay was the process which happened through a time period which led to the destruction or death. So everything will end up in decay and death. So if you create a mental dissatisfaction on those things, we are very well prone to suffering. Why? As soon as that item which we were attached decays and dies, we end up in suffering. Say we are holding up ice cream and we have nibbled it few times and our expectation is to fully eat that, finish it. But somebody comes from behind and grabs this ice cream cone and runs. So the instance decayed and died. So the instance died in the instant. Our thought process or our expectation died then and there. On that instance, that person grabbed the ice cream cone and ran. So we could not enjoy. So, in other words, we could not fulfill the mental law, mental and in this instance, there can be physical discomfort as well. Mental and physical discomfort. We could not fulfill it as the outside item can decay and die. And it is also suffering. Even you don't know the closet, which is full of clothes, if it was caught on fire and when you go home, nothing was left but ashes. It will be very painful because you are attached to those things. Attachment happens when there is mental dissatisfaction, physical dissatisfaction. Physical dissatisfaction always leads to mental dissatisfaction in a normal person, in a lay person. So when there is mental dissatisfaction, you look for these outside items and that creates an attachment to that outside item. It's just like a waterfall. It's just like wind. That's an analogy. So let's take a waterfall. The pressure or the height where the water originally sits is high. The height is the water comes from above to a ground below. So it's a gradient we see. So wind blows from a place where there is more pressure to a place where there is less pressure. That's the nature of it. That's the nature of wind. So just like that, when you have mental dissatisfaction in your mind, that's more pressure. There's more pressure in your mind. And the item you like has less pressure. So this is the analogy. So you get a connection there. Your body, whole body, your mind and everything will move toward that place. Because as wind moves from high pressure to low pressure, you move from high suffering to less suffering. Or, in other words, you look for bliss. That's what creates the attachment. So the connection between your mind and the outside object creates an attachment to that item. This is not seen, physically seen. It's not physical. It's beyond physical. Can be understood with wisdom, the attachment which forms there. So when somebody attaches to an external item which is very temporary, we cannot say when it dies and decays. It can happen at any place. So you are attached to something poisonous, something which can give pain and suffering. That's why you are attached to your house, your car, your clothes and everything. But you might not be attached to the other, your next door neighbor's house, his car or her car, and that person's clothes. You might not be attached to that. So when decay and death happens, it's not a problem for you when it happens to the other person, because you are not attached to those things. But it's a big problem when it happens to your stuff. But in reality, both are made of same things. If we go to the atomic level, both are made of neutrons, protons and electrons, in simple words. But some things give pain and others do not. So it's not something in the materialistic world. Again, it's due to attachment. So we change this word. So originally we talked about mental dissatisfaction due to wanting of something from outside. So this wanting and the mental dissatisfaction creates an attachment in between. So then now we get that whole process, and we call it attachment. So that's what attachment or tanha is. Attachment is attaching to some place. That's the meaning of tanha. Tanha. Tana means place. Ha means attachment. You are attaching to a place due to seeing something valuable in that place. That's ignorance. There's nothing valuable in it. So that's that attachment. When the bond of attachment is high, how does the bond of attachment becomes high? When your expectation is high, when the vexation is high, the attachment is stronger. When the attachment is stronger, the pain which is created when losing it is also high. The fear of that instance of losing it is higher. Say you are attached to somebody and you are very afraid of losing that person. You are very careful in keeping that person in your life. What if that person dies? Can happen at any moment. Then the pain which is created is similar, high. It's directly proportional to the attachment. Pain created, the fear created, before the pain, there's fear. Fear becomes a pain when the thing you expected happens. So, the thing you feared happens, it is converted to pain. But when it comes to fear, it says in Buddhist text, there's nothing suffering than pain. Fear. Nothing suffering than fear. Fear is the most suffering thing. Because that feeling, you will lose it someday you will lose it. That is very agonizing. So, that's that. So, attachment is what creates the fear and pain. So, when the attachment is more, fear and pain is more. So, now we could not introduce these three terms which explains the reality of the word anicca, dukkha and anatta. Now we can explain it because we understand the concept now. So, what is anicca? So, you thought that there is bliss in the external world. So, your expectation was to chase after those objects. So, anicca means the expectation. Anicca means cannot have it according to expectation. Now we know why. So dukkha means suffering. If something cannot be achieved according to our expectation, in originally it's suffering. Dukkha means suffering. So we can understand that. We associating with objects that will cause suffering. So that we have to be fearful to associate with those kinds of objects because it can give you pain, suffering. So we call dukkha by tail. Suffering and call it is due to fear. Fear of suffering. So fear of suffering. We get associated with these kinds of things. That's dukkha. And anatta, essence, there's no essence. There's no essence in this kind of a scenario, this kind of a world. We are pursuing after these kinds of things will create suffering. And the bliss is bliss which is created through the process is not worth it, because it is not wise to think that it is worth it, because it comes through suffering, original suffering. You know the analogy now. So that's another essenceless nature. There's no essence. So if you know this anicca, dukkha and anatta, you will learn a way to get rid of suffering very easily. So initially, when you see that dress outside the showcase, in the showcase, you wanted it, and the only way you could get rid of the suffering is by buying it. There's no other way. But now you know another way. So, say you see that kind of thing and you feel like buying it. You feel like owning it. And when Dhamma is emerged in that instance, you see that this is not, that this is a not the correct way to achieve bliss, and but the idea, the original idea, it was implemented in the mind, was due to avidya or ignorance. And you see that this thing is anicca, cannot fulfill your expectation by achieving it. And due to that, it's dukkha. This will lead to a suffering pathway, and it is not worth it, or its essence does. So when that feeling, that's why we call it as a feeling. It's not just words. Words won't do anything. It's the feeling. It's the comprehension. It's the wisdom that generates through this idea, which will be regenerated at that kind of a moment. And you will feel, I don't want this to be happy. And you will remember all the suffering you have to go through to receive nothing but a neutral cloth where there's no bliss. So you will be happy again. That thought will be removed by the thought of Dhamma, and you will feel very wise, and you will feel fulfilled even without that dress, because Dhamma could ease out that vexation through wisdom. Now your mind becomes zero, and dress is also zero, and you don't have any attachment there. Now you can pass that showroom and go to your home without any regret. But the original person who does not know this thing, he or she won't be able to get rid of that vexation, or minus 100, minus 20,000. You won't be able to get rid of that. So, dress is zero, your mind is minus 20,000, and you will go to your house or your room in pain. The other person, even without shedding up sweat, was able to get rid of that suffering. So that's what is Dhamma. So if you have any questions, I think today I could give you a comprehensive idea what anicca dukkha anatta means, and I think you understood hopefully. If you have any questions regarding this, you can ask.
Thank you very much, Thero, for that comprehensive explanation. As Thero said, we'd like to invite any participants who wants to ask any question. Feel free to ask any question within the explanation, or even Thero would be okay to ask anything that they may have that they want to ask at this point as well. That's okay to say, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. So the floor is yours for the participants to ask any questions.
Most of the time in this first discussion, you are just receiving a lot, and your minds might not process anything, any questions right now. But when you try to put it into practice, you will get a lot of questions. So if you don't have questions, don't worry. So if you have one, you can ask.
Ravindu, did you want to say something? Sorry, Alex, go ahead, please.
Waharaga, hello again.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that not video, because with video connection is a little bit worse. I have a question.
You could not listen to the full sermon clearly?
Oh?
Was that the case?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you. The first thing I want to say thank you very much for this lesson. It was very useful for me. Thank you very much.
No problem.
I have a question. The main thing of meditation of this word drama, the main thing, we need to teach feel happiness without material things. For example, if I have, I need to teach to be not depending on things outside. I need to save happiness inside of me. Yes?
Yeah. Now, the materialistic things. So, it is not the materialistic things are actually, according to the sermon as well, it's zero. So there's nothing suffering about that. The suffering part is what we created inside our minds, our body, mainly in the mind. So when there's a suffering component created due to expectation and everything, when you create it in your mind, you feel that this outside environment as blissful, and when you start practicing Dhamma, you think that the outside world is now not good. You have to get rid of that world. It's not that. You have to get rid of that vexatious mind, because the outside thing is neutral. So you can use it. You can use anything in the world without getting attached to it. So attachment is the problem. Ignorance is the problem. The thinking, the idea that you get that there is pleasure, or that there is bliss in these outside items, that is the problem. So if you get rid of that mindset, you will be able to use anything without a problem. So initially you cannot do that, because initially if you try to use this materialistic word overly, you won't get that, the mind won't develop, or the wisdom won't develop. That's why initially we try to cut those things to a certain amount and try to focus on the reality. We try to practice this. We try to meditate this. Through the meditation, you develop it, and when you develop it, you don't care whether it's there or it's not there. You won't care whether you have a car or you don't have a car. Whether you have a big house or you don't have a big house, you don't care. So that's the thing. But you prefer a small house to a big house because the maintenance. Now, if you have a attachment, you don't mind the maintenance. You like it. You like other people seeing that you have a big house. But when that is not there, when that's gone, you don't want a big house. You just want to live somewhere. So you prefer a small one, but you don't mind the big thing. You don't see it as a burden. You just stay there until you die. That's what I think. I think I understood you correctly when answering the question. Did I answer it correctly?
Yes, sure. Yes, sure. Thank you very much for your answer. Yes, I understood you that we don't need to love house. We need to just to live there with our family. We don't need to love our car. We just need to move on this. We need to use material. We need to use material world for our comfortable life, but not to be these material things like love. Yes.
Yeah. We should not get attached to it. So attachment comes when you give value. So you don't give value. You see as these items as neutral things. You see that the whole explanation is based on that. So in that explanation, you see those things as anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Other than that, you can use them. So you just use them to make your life comfortable. Yeah, that's the case.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah. So we did not go to the meditation part yet. I think you need this basic idea about Dhamma. So in Dhamma it says that it's dasanena pahatabba. Oh, you have to have the philosophy first. After the philosophy only you will be able to do the bhavanaya pahatabba or the meditation part. Through the meditation part only you will fully comprehend this, and you will be able to apply to this your life and complete this pathway to Nibbana. Actually, it's a pathway. It's not something you can achieve then and there. In some instances, yes, if you have a very high wisdom, but most of the time in this era, people have specifically, most of the time it's less wisdom. So people need to do they have to go through a pathway or a journey in order to fulfill this idea or to complete enlightenment. So when you fulfill and complete the enlightenment, you will be able to fully experience this, and you will not get any vexation parted into your mind.
Thank you very much. Very useful.
Okay. If you did not, I think we could not, Mr. Dileep, I think we could not record this.
Thero, actually, I recorded it on my device because initially I didn't have host, so I had put a local recording. So I do have the recording. It's been recorded right now.
That's good. So in your end, I think the signal connection might have been good. So I think we can put it into the WhatsApp group to refer it if Alex needs, because I think he was having connection difficulties.
Yes, Thero, there was only about, I think, 10 minutes there was a little bit of small disruptions coming in, but that did not really harm the idea. But apart from that 10 minutes, on my side, the sermon was clear. So the recording can be given and I can put it into the group.
Yeah, sure. So any more questions on the topic or anything else? That's fine.
we have, apart from Alex and I think Pahan and Chandula, as well as Ravindu. So if any of you would like to ask any questions, feel free to do so.
It was a wonderful and very complete explanation regarding the reality of the world. I think what will be more beneficial to us who are living in the outside world right now is how we can apply this to our day-to-day life and be able to look at the world with Anitya, Dukkha and Anatta.
Yeah, that's the basic idea. This is a practical way or philosophy or actually reality of the world. So it should be practical. So we can apply it in certain ways. So in various kinds of what you call lifestyle. So it can be a lifestyle of a monk, can be a lifestyle of a person who is living in another country, or maybe a person who has a lot of work. That doesn't mind. That is not the case when it comes to Dhamma. It says that everybody is trying to achieve the same thing in different ways. So if we understand that, and if we adjust our lifestyle according to this philosophy, you will lead a complete or a better life with more mental satisfaction, ultimately leading to Nibbana. And that might not, I think we could not explain what Nibbana is. I think we have more time in another episode. We can, or in another day or another session, we can go deeper and try to understand how we get to that final enlightenment. So this also will be enough. If this initial understanding also will be enough to go there, but I think as people who have who are in this era does not have that kind of very high wisdom, so we'll have to go through few sessions in order to understand it fully. So as in this session also, there are a lot of things that was given, so you have a lot to take in initially. So we have a time period of, I think we can arrange it in the next week or so, if you like. So if we can have few more sessions, and if you can until that, if you can think about what we discussed and what the real purpose of life and what you actually want, if you can think about those things and get an idea, so it will be easier when it comes to the next session.
Thero, I think considering that we have almost gone to about 2.5 hours, close to that time, if anyone doesn't have any questions, as you mentioned, maybe we can leave some incubation time for them to think and apply, in terms of especially think about what was discussed, and maybe next time they may have more questions to ask, and thus a few more sessions will give a more rounded idea, and we can maybe make more progress. So Thero, shall we finish for the day? What is that?
Yeah, that's good. I think let's wind up for today. So I think I'll end up this session with a blessing according to Supreme Lord Buddha's teaching. Yang kinchi ratanando ke vichati විවිධාපතු රත්නම් පුත්ත සමන්නත්ති තස්මා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ යං කිංචි රත්නං ලෝකේ විජ්ජති විවිධාපතු රත්නම් ධම්ම සමන්නත්ති තස්මා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ යං කිංචි රත්නං ලෝකේ විජ්ජති විවිධාපතු රත්නම් සංඝ සමන්නත්ති තස්මා සොත්ති භවන්තු තේ අභිවාදන සීරිස නිච්ඡං වද්ධා පචායනෝ චත්තාරෝ ධම්මා වඩ්ඩಂತಿ ආයුවන්නෝ සුඛං බලං ආයුරාෝග්‍ය සම්පatti සබ්බ සම්පatti මේවච අතෝ නිපාන සම්පatti විනාතේ සමිච්ඡතු. May everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. So,
sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Thero for taking this time and explaining the Dhamma to all of us. We greatly appreciate it, and we would hopefully also next week we will be able to continue this. Thank you very much, Thero, for giving us your time as well as doing the sermon. And thank you everyone.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for your participation. We will continue this next week. Theruvan Saranai, or may the Triple Gem bless all of you. We wind up for tonight. Thank you.